Okay, so I just made this Generation 1 popularity ranking thing. And, if you understand numbers and your eyes work, that number to the far left is it was their usage percentage. How much were they used? That means how many times did bros show up across all the battles in Gen 1 OU? In number one spot, we have the guy, the Himothy, if you will, the 100% Himalayan of this generation, Tauros. I will say the gap between Tauros and Snorlax a lot smaller than I thought. Snorlax is gaining on him, which is ironic because Snorlax has a speed stat of like 5. Tauros, I think he's just kind of made to kill everything in this generation. He's pretty fast, normal type attacks, can't get paralyzed by body cringe. Hyper Beam's a really cool move, and I'm lying. Well, it's cool when I'm the one doing it, but yeah, if you kill somebody with Hyper Beam, then you don't have to recharge. So because Tauros is kind of fast and he has a really strong Hyper Beam, he can kind of just kill people. Oh, you got some counters like Rhydon. Okay, Blizzard. Earthquake, whatever. Cloister. Okay, Thunderbolt, whatever. Like, this guy can kind of just kill everybody. I would say his biggest weakness is he doesn't really have reliable recovery, and that's not really a weakness. And then in the number 2 spot with 72% usage rate is Snorlax. Now, it's not quite as domineering as it is in Gen 2. Not quite as impressive. That took him a few years to do it. But in Gen 1, he's still a monster, and he has... Usually people just run a bunch of attacks, body slam, blizzard, earthquake, self-destruct. That is the strongest attack if you didn't know, because you have to factor in stab. Now, I liked Snorlax because this thing, kind of like when you find him in the games, level 30, this thing is just a tank and it eats up everything. You can have amnesia and reflect, and nobody can kill Snorlax, so it's pretty fun. Now, in the next spot, they're basically about tied for 62%, is Eggy, Executor, for you guys that aren't cool and hip like me, and then Chansey. Now, in the past, I've done one of these videos before for Gen 1, and Chansey was for sure number 3, so this is a little bit of a surprise to me. Executor usage went up, and Chansey usage went down. Because before it was kind of like the indestructible big 3, which were, just 3 normal types straight. But Executor barely is being more used now than Chansey. And Executor is literally the best sleep inducer in the game, bro. Is just the tankiest guy for the job. And he has a really stab strong psychic. Stun Spore. I've faced the wrath before of a Leech Seed Toxic Executor once upon a time, and it had rest. And like the Toxic and the Leech Seed, it's I don't know the words for it, but if you know what I'm talking about, it's agonizing pain in Generation 1. And then you got Chansey, the original Blissey. When I look at this stuff, this makes me think that overall, like if you played Gen 1 and 3, you would think that, or I'm thinking that other people are thinking that Blissey is not as good as Chansey. Blissey's not used as much as Chansey is in Gen 1. Blissey's like the 7th most used Pokemon, which is crazy because I think it's the best Pokemon in Gen 3. And over here, Chansey looks to be... Okay, in Gen 1, there's not that many Pokemons. That's why there's such a huge disparity between like the top 10 and everybody below them. But yeah, Chansey appears to be a lot stronger than Blissey. This is where all the madness started. In Generation 2, Game Freak said, hey, you know what? That Chansey thing, I know it was one of the best Pokemon in the game. Let's make it evolve. Yeah, that was a really good idea. Then we have the number 5 most used Pokemon being Starmie, 47%. A bit of a gap between that and Alakazam. Starmie's stats are pretty similar to Alakazam. They both get Thunder Wave, they both get Psychic, they both get Recover. But what I'm imagining is going through players' minds is the other move Starmie can get for stab, which is Blizzard. Blizzard's one of the most overpowered things ever. Then you got Surf or Hydro Miss if you're a maniac, and then you have Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt's like half the reason Slowbro fell to UU, apparently. I mean, I don't really agree with these opinions, but, when you have another water psychic type on the loose, And because the crit rate's based off your speed set, and Stormy's kind of fast, so now you could 1v1 an enemy Slowbro just by critting them, which is just diabolical to me. But don't worry, we'll talk about Slowbro later on. Alakazam's the number 6 most used. This kind of checks out with me. I mean, if you just look at I think they should just be called the Big 6. I mean, you got 3 normal types and 3 of the strongest psychic types, and those are the 2 best types in the game. Like, this is not a very insanely complicated metagame as time progresses. We had to start turning into the next Albert Einstein, every last one of us, with all the evolving metas. Now, Gen 1 was a simpler time. You just, pick strong normal type, pick strong psychic type. Alakazam, Alakazam gets Reflect, so I guess that's one thing over Stormy, and Seismic Toss. That's the difference, I guess. They're on parity with one another. If you don't know what the word parity means, it's not parity. It's not like the Dragon Ball Z parity. It means that they're on level with one another. Boom. You learned something new today. Coming in at the 7th, 8th, and 9th spots, Rhydon, Gengar, and Zapdos, all from about 30 to 25%. Rhydon, why is Rhydon number 7? Well, Rhydon's number 7 for a couple reasons. One, you see that Zapdos right there that I just mentioned 2 seconds ago, and on that row below it, you see a Jolteon. Rhydon completely, I mean, just completely hard walls those two. I mean, in Gen 3, Blissey is a disgusting hard wall against, like, a bunch of special attackers, but some dumb things could happen, like, oh, I got frozen, oh, I got crit by a Calm Mind Tweaker. No, that doesn't happen here. The worst thing that could happen to you here is, like, Body Slam from Jolteon Paralyze, or they hit you with a Toxic, something very niche and obscure. Most of the times, you completely shut down those 2 threats entirely. Another thing, too. Rock and Ground, they work pretty well together. You resist some stab strong attacks from Snorlax and Tauros, who, as we've already seen, are the 2 most popular Pokemon. Not saying that they're the best, but they are the most popular. That is a fact. And Rhydon, another thing, has one of, I guess technically it is the highest, like, real attack stat, because it's 130. The highest one's Dragonite with 134. Rhydon's tied with, like, Kingler and Flareon and Machamp with attack, but as you can see, there's a few problems with those ones. So Flareon, fire type, so no attack for you. Kingler, water type, no attack for you. And then you have the one guy who gets eaten alive by psychic types and misses half the submissions. So you have a stab, strong, earthquake with a base 130 attack stat. Because very few Pokemon get Swords Dance and Amnesia. And even the ones up here. I believe, I don't think any of these guys get Sword. Oh, wait, no, Snorlax gets Amnesia, yeah. But he's not a psychic type. He can't go absolutely insane with it. But just running out the gate, that stab, strong, earthquake kills everybody. And then you got Rock Slide. You know who's immune to earthquake? Flying types. Say hello to Rock Slide. So that's cool. Gengar! Falling behind an Alakazam Shadow in Generation 1. Let's see what I did there. It's a shadow, kind of. It's like, I don't know. It's a ghostly shadow thing. That guy, I guess it's debatable. I mean, I said Executor is the best sleep inducer. Maybe not. I mean, Gengar is the fastest one in the game. That is also a fact. I mean, if you don't want to rely on Hypnosis, I get it. You can use Parasect. Parasect will not, wait, no, Gen 1. Okay, yeah, you could still miss. You probably won't miss with Spore, though. So you're the fastest sleep dude, and you have a million different moves, kind of like how he is all the time. Dude, this guy has just been, like, actually one of the singles goats. And I guess doubles, I don't know too much about doubles, though. Just always been consistent since the dawn of time, since this guy took his first breath and died because he's a ghost type. Oh, Confuse Ray. People forget about Confuse Ray. Explosion, Thunderbolt. You can have Mega Drain to fight off like Rhydons and Golems here and there. Psychic. This guy flourishes. And it's huge if you're fast with a sleep move, because sleep is overpowered in Gen 1. I find it interesting how it's been banned in like Gen 9 and 4. And Gen 1, I'm like, bro, you're asleep for 7 turns. You're basically dead, but it's not banned in Gen 1. Maybe it's just fair, because then, I don't know, if you didn't have sleep in Gen 1, these battles would probably take a lot longer. Then you have Zapdos. Another one just like Gengar. Dude was born into royalty. Literally, he was a legendary Pokemon, electric flying, very good friends with one another. Pretty much just a strict upgrade. You have a stab. He's basically the only relevant Pokemon in the game that has Drill Peck. There are other people that have Drill Peck, but they, Fearow and Dojo aren't exactly keeping up with Zapdos. So you can have Drill Peck for Executor, perhaps the uncommon Victory Bell, and perhaps the legendary Parasect pulling up an OU to put your team asleep that you cannot avoid because it's not going to miss, hopefully. Now we've got our, I would say, probably best ice type in the game. Some people say Cloyster, but Jinx can put you to sleep, and Jinx has a decent speed stat. If you look at these top Pokemon, Snorlax, not very fast. Eggy, not fast. Chansey, not fast. Rhydon, not fast. Cloyster, not too fast. Slowbro's not fast. So you can, outrun some Pokemon. I don't know if I said Rhydon already, but you can outrun some Pokemon and put them to sleep. And then you have Blizzard, Stab Blizzard in Gen 1, scary. You're an ice type. Oh man, it's a nightmare. It's if you've played this format, I'm not going crazy. It is scary. And Ice Psychic is actually one of the best offensive types in the game. The only two Pokemon in the whole game, if you didn't know, that resist these stabs, it's literally Slowbro and Starmie. So conveniently they're in OU and they are relevant. Well, Slowbro isn't. Bro got robbed. We'll get to him in a second. But yeah, Jinx is basically one of, if not, it's definitely in the running, but it might be the best Pokemon that was in Pokemon Stadium 1 out of all the rentals. You had Ice Punch, which is special, and Psychic, and Lovely Kiss. Like, it was the best weapon they gave us. They couldn't give us Blizzard. They didn't want us to go Loco de Cabeza, but it was pretty strong. Then you have Cloyster. Cloyster is good because it's like the best physical wall. So Rhydon, it can switch into Rhydon, Snorlax, Tauros. It's probably the most useful for Tauros just because Tauros on every single team known to man. Blizzard, once again, Stab Blizzard. You got Clamp. Clamp is disgusting. See, in Stadium 1, if you went for Clamp and you trap somebody, you could just switch out and then end of the nonsense. It don't work like that in RBY. Trust me, I've learned this. I made a short about it. Did you know that you can actually have negative power points from using your trapping move? I'm serious. I can't make this up. And then you have Explosion. Can't go wrong with that. And then you have the Jolteon, which is the greatest Pokemon that mankind has ever came together to create. And I will not be explaining why it's here. Then in the 10 to 5% range, it almost looks like these tiers are almost going off the newer way of things. Or, if you fall below 4.72% usage, you go to UU. Because all these Pokemon are literally UU. From Slowbro to Victory Bell. So Slowbro was robbed. Don't believe it. This is an OU tiered Pokemon. This guy, he just gets unlucky from time to time. It happened to me a lot of times. You got the electric dude, Starmie, hitting him in the head with a Thunderbolt. This guy right here is annoying. This guy right here is really annoying. Other than that, you just Amnesia, Thunderwave, Rest, Surf, kill everybody. It's pretty cool. Dragonite's a fiend. Don't be fooled. This thing, it's because it has Wrap. Every time I see a Dragonite in OU, it has Wrap. See, in UU, not always. It'll just be coming out swinging, all these hands are rated E for everyone. It'll have like Hyper Beam. No, in Gen 1, in OU, it has Thunderwave and Wrap all the time. Persian. Let me point this out, by the way. These Pokemon right here are like, it's not a surprise, but these are like the best Pokemon, or some of the best Pokemon in UU. I would say Hypno is probably the best, or in the running for. I'll get to Hypno in a second. But Persian is fast, late game sweeper. You just literally come in. You are a slashing machine. If you got if you like Tauros so much, you want another Tauros. This is kind of like, I guess, kind of like the Walmart Tauros. You just slash, and then have Bubble Beam for Rhydon. That's kind of it. Lapras. Lapras is a monster in UU. Over here in OU, it's still good. It's an ice type. Dude, the ice types used to be good. It has a very deep move pool. Very strong, very strong Blizzard, strong Surfs. It is a water type that gets Thunderbolt. That's pretty gnarly. Confuse Ray. Sing. It gets these funny moves. Body Slam. It's hard to kill. Golem is like Rhydon. The main difference you need to know is that Golem learns Explosion, Rhydon does not. But Rhydon's base attack is higher, so people usually want that because of what I was talking about earlier with the stab, earthquake, and all that. Victory Bell is not even ranked UU. It's not ranked OU. It's ranked. I'll go check in a second, but you know, Razor Wrap, Stun Spore, Sleep Powder, Wrap, Razor Leaf. That's the whole thing. Sometimes they have Swords Dance Hyper Beam. You know, I don't know how it's ranked so low. Why? How is it higher than Venusaur? Wait, no, it actually should be, because Venusaur, if you didn't know, doesn't learn Stun Spore, so I guess that makes sense, yeah. You have Wrap. You have Rapid Stun Spore. No, you're not going to have a good time. Bye. Oh, by the way, a Victory Bell is NU, and Venusaur is PU. Yup. Then you got Articuno, my favorite legendary bird. I'm surprised. I guess it's, I don't want to conflate this with actual power rankings, but, you know, people believe in it more than Moltres, just saying. So maybe it wasn't always the worst one like people believed. It has here I go again. It has the strongest stab blizzard in the game. It has the highest special with the ice type attack blizzard plus stab. It does the most. Problem is, all the guy has is ice, so it can kind of backfire. You send in a water type, a Lapras, Starmie, Slowbro, whatever, Cloyster, and then that's it. Then you're just going to have a bad time. Hypno, I think Hypno is, I think, stronger in UU. And I think the reason why it's weaker here is simply because Alakazam is up here. So, because in UU, Kadabra, at least when I played, I mean, I'm sure the tiers changed again, but I actually used Kadabra more often than Hypno. I thought it was cooler because it has Recover, but yeah, Kadabra was giving Hypno a run for her money. So now that Alakazam's here, Hypno's out of a job. Venusaur's out of a job because of Victory Bell. Kind of does the same thing. Razor Leaf, all that. But yeah, I actually would choose Victory Bell over Venusaur. Gyarados. Gyarados is a fish. Gyarados is like it's kind of like Nidoking, but I guess better stabbed. It has a bunch of mixed attacks. Well, no, special attacks mainly, yeah. And then it has like Hyper Beam randomly and Body Slam. Surf, Thunderbolt, Blizzard, Fire Blast, whatever. That's kind of all it does. It clicks. It had an expert belt before the expert belt was invented. So it just clicks the move that does the most damage and then it goes on with its life. Raichu. I like this spot because I liked Raichu and UU because what makes Raichu special is, remember I was talking about Zapdos and Jolteon, their biggest problem is Rhydon? Well, Raichu actually gets Surf, which can just, you know, one-shot Rhydon easily. Problem is, it doesn't do well against the rest of the tier as well as Zapdos and Jolteon do, but it can kill Rhydon. Charizard, Moltres, man, it's like I'm looking at a Gen 3 tier list right now. They're always fighting for, you know, in the top spot. And me personally, I actually do think Charizard is the best fire type in this game because Charizard is one of those few Pokemon that I mentioned earlier that actually gets Swords Dance. So I learned this in random battles. Swords Dance Charizard with Hyper Beam, Earthquake, and Fire Blast kind of just kills like a lot of things in this game. The only thing that resists all three of those attacks, don't ask me how I know this, but it's Aerodactyl. Everybody else is going to get hit with a lot of damage. Even Moltres. So you resist Fire Blast or you're immune to Earthquake. Well, Swords Dance, Hyper Beam, not going to feel too good. And then Moltres. Now, I've never seen a Moltres in action OU, but I know what you people are up to. Moltres, you know, it has a strong special like Articuno and Zapdos. Moltres learns Fire Spin, so, yeah. So that's probably what people are up to. They go for agility, and then they have Flamethrower, perhaps Fire Blast, Double Edge Hyper Beam, maybe, but I bet they're running Fire Spin because they are evil. The drawback with that is that Fire Spin is actually less accurate than Wrap, so people would just, you know, flock to Dragonite for security. And then Electro is the fastest Pokemon in the game. That's kind of what he has going for it, but he doesn't do as much damage as, you know, all these other guys. But they are fast and they have Explosion, and that's kind of their entire resume. And then our final Pokemon at the very bottom from 2 to 1%. This is kind of like very, very obscure. I mean, I would say like this tier above it is pretty obscure. This is like, if you ran into somebody using these Pokemon, this was a sight to behold. And I wish I was there for you. So Pinsir, highest ranking bug type, most used bug type. That doesn't really surprise me because people say the bug type was the worst, which no. But Pinsir has Swords Dance, Hyper Beam. It does a lot of damage. It really, really does. And then Porygon is like Walmart Chansey and has a weird niche where it can beat Snorlax using Tackle. I'm not joking about that. Dodrio. We got 3 normal types in a row, huh? Dodrio and Kangaskhan. Those are very good Pokemon in UU. Yeah, Dodrio kind of fast. You know, but flying and normal together don't work very well. You would rather just be like just a normal type because now you're opening yourself up to being weak to electric and ice and rock too. And you can't do any damage to Rhydon anyway. So you'd rather just be normal if you could help it. But hey, you got that stab Drill Peck so you can one-shot that evil Parasect on the loose. Look at it. It's actually here. I wasn't going crazy. Kangaskhan's Walmart Tauros. It gets Surf and Rock, so that's the main difference. You don't need Surf and Rock Slide. Doug Trio was very good in UU because it's kind of like a Persian. Very fast late game sweeper. Earthquake Slash. Nidoking, I already kind of talked about it. It's Gyarados, but bro got stuck with the poison type in Gen 1, which not exactly a good idea to do. Poliwrath and Machamp. These are our top 2 fighting types. I think Poliwrath is the best, not even because it's the fighting type stuff. It's because it gets like Hypnosis and Amnesia. It's one of the few Pokemon that get it, as we talked about earlier. Now, Machamp has an insanely high attack like Rhydon, but like I said, you're going to miss half your submission. Submission has low base power anyway. And wait, what's the other problem? You miss a lot, low base power. What's the other problem? Oh, Ghost is immune to it. Is there... I feel like there's another problem I'm forgetting about. Oh, Recoil. That's awesome. That was the other problem. Clefable didn't have recovery. Didn't have no soft blow, none of those shenanigans it has later on, so... That's kind of why it's a lot weaker, and then it gets overpowered out of nowhere, especially in like Generation 4. Arcanine, he's not that guy, man. Not now. The only time Arcanine was that guy was in the Pika Cup Round 2 in Pokemon Stadium 1. Blastoise. The best thing about Blastoise, and I learned this from Random Battles, is the guy has Earthquake, so he can eat up an electrical attack from an electrical Pokemon once in a blue moon and maybe get them back with an Earthquake and kill them. And that's kind of it. Ninetales, but you know what's funny? Ninetales is actually the highest tiered fire type, and it's below 3 other fire types. Nothing makes sense in this universe, but I bet I know why. Well, one reason is it gets fire spin. Well, they all get fire spin, actually, but Ninetales is kind of fast, and it gets... It learns Confuse Ray. When you are fast and you have Confuse Ray, I'm probably not going to like you. Like, they had to do something dirty to you like Golbat to keep you in place. Otherwise, you're going to end up like Gengar going crazy, confusing everybody. Sandslash, strong. It's kind of like, it's like Doug Trio. It does more damage, but it's a lot slower. Dude, I battled an Aerodactyl in UU before, and Aerodactyl's not a UU tiered Pokemon, by the way. That thing had Toxic, Substitute, Rest. I don't know what the last move was, but it was actually doing the work right now. I don't recommend you bring this to an OU battle, but that's probably what you could do. It's a fast Pokemon. It speed ties with Jolteon. I've already done more than enough glazing for Parasect. You understand, don't you? If you haven't learned anything and you get caught fighting a Parasect, you get instant KO'd. I feel no sympathy for you. I tried to warn the masses. It'll just one-shot you. Hitmonlee. Some people say Hitmonlee's the best fighting type because of High Jump Kick. High Jump Kick wasn't that strong. It was weird. If you missed here, you took 1 damage, like 1 HP. But it wasn't that strong, and you could still miss. And then it's like, you got these guys that can do it. Like Machamp gets Earthquake, which helps with like Gengar. Because yeah, what do you do with Hitmonlee against Gengar? You're gonna go for a high jump kick. Yeah, you're gonna keep running and running. You're gonna crash in the wall, and you're gonna dent it right there. And then the final Pokemon right above 1% usage, just a random Kabutops. I actually thought Amistar would be better. Pretty sure Amistar is way better than UU from my memory from playing UU. But it does get, I know it gets Swords Dance and Hyper Beam, but... And at that point, honestly, just use Pinsir or Scyther or Charizard. I would not show up with this guy. This guy is special. It's weird. He's a water type, but he wants to be more of a physical attacker. He has Slash, too. His Surf, it's not very impressive. Just choose one of these other monsters. And by these monsters, I mean choose one of these monsters right here. That's a good idea. Any thoughts on this list right here, guys? Any thoughts at all? You can comment down below if you want my opinion on it. It's that I can't believe in Generation 9 they made Jolteon ZU. Okay? So thank you all for watching. Have a nice day. Take care.